In the previous episode... Oh no! Hello everybody, welcome back. In the previous episode we finally finished Ash's story and have now started Luke's. It's a final sprint to the end, and the end is the longest part. Let's get to it. Alright, let's start Luke's with ominous music. Lucille Mitchell Luke Wright. August 2nd, Leo, 31 years old, height 5'8", 173 centimeters, president and CEO, British, atheist, raised Anglican, high school dropout, privately tutored, likes bread pudding, dogs, wine, absinthe, piano playing, daffodils, money, women in power. A prostitute's son, he spent his childhood roaming the streets begging or pickpocketing in order to avoid home. Home meant too drunk a mother and her equally drunk client, some of who would take a beating to a child out of anger if he so much as looked at them wrong. That meant he was always in trouble in one form or another. Nothing was done to correct it until, in a sober moment, his mother found out about the abuse and promised to take better care of her son. Luke was happy for a while, but his mother's bad habits led to an early grave and left him orphaned until his biological father, a businessman with no legitimate heir, sought him out. He was trained to inherit Wright Enterprise, but along the way got mixed up with illegal activities. That put the company in a bad spot after his assistant ran off with a large sum of dirty money. Bankruptcy would have been inevitable if he hadn't married Hannah. Ooh, lore. To say that I'm scared of what's happening is a gross understatement. Trouble of any sort is the last thing I want to get home to after a long day at work and a trip to the bar. And when I see Hannah near prostrate, I can only feel dread. She twitches and seizes, body wound and coiled tight before thrashing, shuddering, and shaking. Like a woman possessed, her mouth falls open and her eyes roll to the back of her head. It has the hallmark signs of a seizure. The symptoms are similar enough. And that knowledge, the fact that I know this, only makes me feel worse. Any anger I had caused by a disagreement on parting ways, no matter how temporary she claimed it to be, disappeared. The alcohol-induced daze that I felt was brushed aside as I run to help her. None of that mattered at the moment. But to hold her close is all I can do while she thrashes about. I know this is wrong, that I'm not supposed to hold her down, yet I do it out of instinct, reflex even. I'm terrified of hurting her, but I see no other way to keep Hannah from hurting herself. It takes a lot to keep myself from running off to get help when she needs me here. And it takes everything I have to keep myself intact. When she says my name, I realize that the seizures have stopped, but that doesn't make the dread go away.
Luke, please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know.
It's very interesting that every story has started from, like, a before times, whereas Luke seems to be starting current time.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry, Hannah. The sight of her tear-streaked face is enough to twist a knife in. It does not help that I'm as lost as she is right now, and all I can say is...
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hannah. You're safe now.
It takes a bit to go through the house with my inebriated self. That's even made worse by the fact that I had to carry a nearly unconscious person as well. I was about to give up too until Schrocken shows up to lighten the load. I really hope I didn't just swear. He quietly takes her from me without question and brings her up to the bedroom. And me? Well, I couldn't bring myself to follow, not right now. Not while I'm drunk and rattled by what had transpired. It's a miracle I was able to help her at all. So here I am, sulking in a parlour chair with a glass of wine in hand. I can't even remember what particular vintage it is, and I practically did not care right now.
Because when you're already drunk and still have problems, even more alcohol should help.
Of course the butler chose now to appear and be unhelpful.
You know what actually solves all problems? Death. But it is not recommended. Alcohol isn't a true solution either.
Okay, so you know what I said about it happening in the present? I don't think this is the present.
It's worked well enough for me.
I'd like to believe that I get my best ideas while I'm thoroughly hammered. Not everyone might agree, but they can't really do anything about it, can they? With a fuck ton of money comes great power, sometimes responsibility. And with that responsibility comes a lot of reasons to get drunk. Of course, I can just tell responsibility to sod off if I feel reckless, and Christ, I must be really drunk if I'm thinking in circles. I just need something to focus on, and I should be fine.
How is she? Is she alright?
If panic crept into my voice at the question, I don't let it show. It would be a show of weakness to be so frazzled, to show so much concern over a woman who is going to put me aside. People like him who work for me I trust with business, but not with myself, never with that. Only Hannah has come so close. Only she has come to see in the man beneath the facade. Only her actions can wound me so.
Sleeping. Aside from a few bumps and bruises, she seems to be fine. A maid is watching over her for now. It is best not to leave her alone. But if I may ask, what happened? I was in the gardens when I heard screaming. Did you?
No, it wasn't me.
I'm quick to be on the defensive. I may be capable of a lot of horrible things, but I would never harm her, of all people, no matter how angry I might become. I would never lay a hand on her to hurt her.
I didn't do anything. I wouldn't do anything like that. I don't even have a reason to.
You don't consider her wanting to be a part as reason?
Okay, so this takes place just after Hannah wants to move back to the penthouse.
It is it. Well, it is. I don't want to talk about it right now. But what happens was I got home. She was seasoned in the kitchens. Is she ill?
And that's when Hannah went to the basement, and I guess she attempted to get possessed, but it didn't work.
Not that kind of doctor. But I've already scheduled your physician for a house call tomorrow morning. We'll still have to monitor her as soon as she wakes up and...
Oh god, things are coming back to me. I need a drink.
Really? You're still drinking?
Why, yes, it seems to be the bloody best time to be drinking. I'm allowed, aren't I? After all, I've just found my wife having a seizure, and I shouldn't give two shits about it. Not when she's about to leave me.
But I do. My voice cracked. But I do. Goodness, I do. A big generous gulp. Smashed drunk. Have a taste of a famous multi-dimensional wine. Oh, what? A big generous gulp that makes it so that the taste of cherries, raspberries, and strawberries wash over my tongue, the thing too sweet considering its deceptively earthy aroma. I'm assuming this is one of their other games they're hinting at. Veln's Vineyard Seasonal Red isn't really something to scoff at. I've had too many memories of this particular drink. This particular bottle, in fact, was a gift. It serves the purpose Lady Blair Knott had given to me to forget. All the same, whether I took this bottle or a Pinot Noir, it just means to an end. I will probably have to finish the whole bottle to get drunker than I already am.
But no, she doesn't need to be taken care of. If she wants her time apart, she'll have it.
It breaks my heart to just let her go, but she deserves this much, doesn't she? We both deserve this much.
She's had her uses.
She's done a lot for me in the 7 years we've been together. I pursued her at first for money. It was supposed to be strictly business. There might have been a time or two when I considered taking her out of the picture so that I can do with the money as I pleased. I had planned to manipulate her, and I feel horrible thinking about it. But along the way I had changed, if only for her. Perhaps my father would scoff, tell me I've gone soft. Maybe I have, does it matter? 7 long years. It's had its ups and downs, and it clearly hasn't been a perfect marriage. We had our fights. Who hasn't? But those small moments where we could just laugh and be our happy selves were always magical. They made all these years worth it, and I had seen so many more years to come. So where did I go wrong? Well, cheating on her was the first thing. I've loved the only 2 women in my life. Mother dear, bless her soul, and Hannah, who has been my sunshine for so long. Losing her, I fear that I might become more like my father. Had Damien Wright stayed with Mother or any of the other numerous women he's had a child with, would he have been less of an embittered shell of a man? Would having a darling love in his life made him a better person? Perhaps it is a bias of me to doubt so. I don't think I can ever see the old man in a favorable light.
I'm just surprised that you're not afraid. She might be leaving with delicate information.
Oh, she might know something. But if she hasn't done anything with the knowledge for this long, I don't think she would do anything now. If she had even an inkling of what I've done, what I'm capable of, she'll know it's not a good idea. Hannah's a smart woman.
Smart, kind, hard-working, generous, loyal. I can go on and wax poetic about her if I had any talent with the stuff.
Why don't you sit down and have a drink with me? Don't worry, it's not poisoned or anything.
Lonely? Oh, I suppose there's no harm.
Huh. With a shake of my head, I procure another glass and pour some of the red wine. Watching the red liquid is fascinating all on its own with my muddled brain that I barely noticed sloshing some of it and staining my suit. It'll be an utter bugger to clean, so I'm glad that isn't my problem. Handing it over, I can't help but look up at the ceiling and let out a sigh. My eyes, damp, glaze over, though I won't let it go further than that. Raising my own glass for a toast, I clear my throat.
We drink to... Do we really need a reason to? The world is messed up. War, terrorism, famine, poverty, loved ones and love lost. The world is a cesspool. Might as well be drunk if we're going to drown in it.
A bit less eloquent than your usual speeches, but zum Wohl.
A sip, a gulp, refill, rinse and repeat until the bottle of Veln is barely a fifth left. I must have drunk most of it because I barely see Shotgun take a sip after his first glass. It certainly feels that way. I don't even think I can stand up, let alone walk. I am all legless. My mind just feels so funny, and everything else is so equally hilarious. Bloody hell, I think I can make out faces of bald men on the wallpapers, with the butler also standing up. He looks like a skyscraper from where I'm seated.
Jesus Christ, I have Sasquatch as a butler.
I have a great alcohol tolerance, so this, seeing how I'm a giggling wreck right now, is assumedly really bad. If there is any other sober part left in me, it'll probably shrivel up and die just thinking of the hangover that'll come in the morning. But I can't help but get distracted at the sight of the moonlight peeking through the curtains, shiny and shimmery and absolutely splendid. There are no curtains on those windows. Even if the night brought calm, it is the moon that always enamored me so. It is a second sun, but also just as beautiful as my sunshine.
I want to go out and look at the moon. Mummy, I can't feel my legs.
Mutter, I am not. Don't tell me I have to carry you upstairs to bed.
You know, Hannah, she told that photo man that I was a trying husband. I can't even. The nerve of them, right? He goes and takes her out shopping, and they give me lip service in return. I bet they were talking shite while they were in the store spending my money. Am I a trying husband, Joe?
I wouldn't know. You're not my husband, are you? But you are a trying Dummkopf when you are this drunk.
I didn't even do nothing. I did my best to behave decent. Whiskey and Mint are just good friends, that's all. And that Rochelle woman's baby isn't mine. I swear, I couldn't love any other woman than Hannah.
Ooh, interesting.
Hannah must be so tired. I'm a brat, aren't I? She said as such. I don't want Hannah to leave me, Joe. Oh God, she's the love of my life, you know? I'm a shy human being without her. I should... Flowers.
I feel kind of bad for Luke right now. Giving him so much shit the entire series.
Lots and lots of flowers. All of the flowers. Enough to make the Queen's Gardens look like a fucking dumpster fire in comparison.
All well and good, but you are not achieving any of that while you are lying on the carpet. Now, if you can lift your skinny ass and work with me. 1, 2, 3.
But I don't want to go to bed. The moon is so pretty tonight.
I should just let you sleep on the ground, Bratwurst.
October 29th, okay. Saturday, October 29th, Luke left Hannah in Johan's care after the incident at the kitchen. Pissed off at the recent events and a possible divorce looming at the horizon, he dedicated the rest of his day to getting hammered, stopping only after his butler intervened.
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty face from day to day.
Is this Luke?
Come on, Mummy, wake up. I want to be in that play.
I'm pretty sure that's Hannah's voice actor.
Mummy, wake up. You promised that you'd help me practice my lines today. The auditions are tomorrow, so I have to practice. The last syllables of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools. The way to Dusty. Mummy, are you...
I choke back a scream and wake up in a cold sweat. With my heart pounding in my ears, it takes a while to remember where I am. In the dark and cold of the room, one can't fault me for feeling ill at ease. It isn't as bright as the penthouse, and the renovations did little to change how old it feels. We've been here for less than a week. It'll take a bit of more time to adjust. It's so hard to feel cozy though when I'm bloody freezing. Nudging the lump of fabric next to me, I sigh.
It's cold. Don't hug the sheets, Hannah.
She always did this, though it hardly bothers me. Growing up, I was lucky to have someone to use as a mattress. Something. I'm not the one who grew up accustomed to Egyptian cotton with a thread count of 800. Besides, the warmth that Hannah exuded on her own is usually enough to keep me sleeping through the night. The temperature tonight must be something else with how chilly it is right now. I must be considerate. After all, the poor dear is ill, though I loathe to think about what has just transpired.
Don't make me pull those sheets off you. That blanket is large enough to cover an elephant. You need to share.
It takes a while.
What was that, honey? Apologies. I'm just in the loo, so if you can give me a moment.
There's no sign that they'll be moving where they lie. With care, I go for a knife hidden under the side of my bed. It would be foolish of me to instigate anything while I'm unarmed, after all. To pull back the covers would be a more difficult affair, because reaching out to uncover who was underneath, I have to prepare for anything and assume the worst. If I so much as see the nozzle of a gun, there's going to be a murder tonight. It's very interesting that Luke is like, give me the covers, and Hannah is from the bathroom is like, I'm in the toilet, and immediately he's like, no, wait, what? Just instantly, knife, ready to stab the pile of fabric. I know they say not to bring a knife to a gunfight, but I think I can sink a blade in his liver faster than he can point and aim. I see the rise and fall of the sheets, though it could easily be mistaken as the fall of the breeze. I hear their breathing. A great sense of foreboding comes over me, making me hesitate with my plan. I should just get Hannah and myself out of here, not look back and let security handle it. That's what they're there for. Or maybe I should just man up. There's no way I'm risking the chance that inaction will put Hannah in danger. But what's worse that could happen, right? I have no reason to be afraid. There's no bogeyman under the bed, no monster in my closet. If anything, these things should be afraid of me. Right? I grab a fistful of sheets and throw them aside. Nothing. Saturday, October 29th. Luke woke up in the middle of the night with a scream and in cold sweat. Finding comfort in the warm body next to his, he tried to get back to sleep and forget the images plaguing his mind, until Hannah called out from the loo. Nothing but a bunch of pillows stare back at me. Must be my imagination. I'd rather not think I'm going mad. I could very well be the stress getting to me, all this drama with Hannah. I've been doing well all these years, all things considered. I guess I do have a breaking point. But still, the world goes on even if one cannot, and I must go along with it. I suppose a day or two tomorrow wouldn't hurt. Rest aside from a few hours of sleep will be welcome more than. But I can't shake off the unease. I dare say that I feel afraid, irrationally so, that something will come creeping and crawling from under the bed, even as I lay back down and close my eyes. October 30th, Sunday. The odd dreams don't linger, thankfully, but with the morning comes another disturbance, both too loud and too sharp for my tastes. So this is when Zach warns him, right? And I have very fine tastes. Let's just check his love heart thing first. Relationship. Wow. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of funny. Okay, I'm going to make this my goal, and I will, like, reset my choice if I have to make everyone like Luke. You know what? Yeah, I feel bad for him now. Of course, that's what they do. That's how they do it. And I have very fine tastes. I forgot what it was before that. When the piercing rings of a doorbell reach even the bedroom, I'm very much inclined to think that the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only thing good in this is that the ruckus has chased away the needling guilt from last night's commotion, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that this is going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the bed and heading straight for the main door. There will be a murder today if this doesn't let up. How quaint. It seems everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting in my nerves as of late.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion this quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is how long Hannah's patience with me will last after the incident at the party. Neither the deafening silence nor the biting chill spreading across every room in the place. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself, perhaps with more force than needed. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side and the hour he dared appeared on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hannah will disapprove, scold me for treating this man with such disrespect, if she hears me right now. She seems fond of him after all, treats him like a friend she's known for years. But she's not here, isn't she? What she doesn't know...
You! Again! It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
This is still my home. My rules also apply to this place as much as Hannah's do. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens that it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually he leaves and silence once again fills the room as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for a psychiatric services. He certainly sounds mental just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds, nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worst, Shrocken will take care of it need be. It's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, the bigger problem at hand, a hangover. Maybe I'll have some absinthe to temper it, dog hairs, or some wine to help me get back to sleep. It's still early, 1 glass won't hurt. Or 2. Whatever the case, I need to think whatever that will lead me to. It's nothing. Everything leads to nothing. Except for this pounding headache, as if my mind will burst at any time and leak out of my ears, my vision swims in and out of view. My stomach threatens rebellion, with plans of making me throw up what little food I've taken in with how my mouth feels. It's like filled with cotton. It's like filled with cotton. Yeah, I read that wrong. One would think that the fact I'm hungover would make me the grumpiest person in the room. But as it is, my eyes move over to Hannah, who is stirring sugar into her tea and scowling down at it, all the while as if it has just murdered a baby in front of her. I have half a mind to bemoan my current state and make a fool of myself just to make her smile. And I'm rather good at bemoaning. Not that I would admit that. Why, I'm already adopting the posture of a whiny teenager as I speak, slouched forward with my cheek on the table.
Oh, I'm dying. Oh, God, I'm dying. Hannah? Johans, call an ambulance, please. Let it be known that I leave all my belongings to Hannah right near Evans. Everything but 30,000 quid. But oh, I see a bright light. I see a farm. Mother dearest, is that you? Little Lucille is on his way home. I'm so sorry, but I must leave you, Hannah. Cover my face. Your eyes dazzle. I die young.
That much I can manage through the hangover, a thing entirely of my fault considering I've twice drunk the night before. Another thing I will never admit, really. It's a miracle I haven't accrued alcohol poisoning yet.
Oh, stop being so melodramatic, Luke. Besides, you never lived in a farm. You hate farms. We are not bringing you to the hospital for a hangover. Really? One would think you'd be used to it by now with how stubborn you are about your drinks. Dare I ask what the 30,000 quid is for, though?
It pulls a small smile from her for a moment, but the pinched look on her face returns quickly enough.
He lost a bet with Robert and Elise after a night of drinking at the Crawl. 10,000 each, and another 10 to me.
The sneer that makes its way on my face doesn't hold as much heat as it usually does. It's just a bit of friendly ribbing. Wink. Though I still wish he wouldn't tattle. Of course it was my fault for mentioning the money. It wasn't like anyone will notice 30 grand missing from millions, though. That's how much I spend on a normal weekend.
Oh, must you be such a teacher's pet? I told you not to talk about it.
I'm having second thoughts about moving to the penthouse. If this is what you do when I'm not looking.
I've almost forgotten about that little arrangement, too. Shame. Hopefully that's the reason why she's so intent on glaring at the table until its varnish peels off. The alternative would have been sobering.
It was that one time. I'm not a child in need of minding or mother hens. As much as I'd love for you to stay, you said you need some time to yourself. Don't let the fact that I lost a bet once make you think I have to be supervised.
It wasn't. I'm just worried about you, Luke. I'd be less so if you actually sat up.
Why are you worried about me? I'm more concerned about what your doctor told you. How did the house call go?
I didn't want to intrude on her privacy when the doctor arrived, a ridiculous sentiment considering I am still her husband. But it wasn't like I could have done any good being there, what with nursing a hangover and all. However, a part of me feared what would be said, not to mention I trust that Hannah would tell me if something is serious. Of course, it probably is something bad, and I would be a fool to hope otherwise. I found her having a seizure, for goodness sake. I should have rushed her to the hospital as soon as she awoke, but it was her insistence that kept me at bay. A cup of tea finds itself in my hands, an attempt to appease me, no doubt. But I don't bother to drink, let alone look up. If anything, I just press my forehead on the table to hide the childish pout on my lips. Not that this is any better.
It was fine. The physician took some of my blood, and he scheduled me for a few lab tests tomorrow morning. I've already called for a driver and attendant to accompany me, so there's no need for you to worry.
And what? You'll just be leaving me behind then? And I don't think you should be going anywhere alone.
You hate hospitals even more than you hate farms, Luke. And Kylie's coming for your play date tomorrow, remember? Relax. I'm taking Johans with me if it makes you feel better.
Herr Dr. Hobbs asked that I keep her under observation for the time being. Naturally, I'll be reporting my findings at the hospital.
Sitting up, I run a finger over the rim of my teacup and mull it over. I do hate the bloody place. I thought hiring... I'm going to call him Johans, just because I don't know what this means. I thought hiring Johans would have been enough for me to avoid the place. Apparently not. Bloody doctors and bloody sick people, I don't want to catch anything contagious. I can't even tell crying people to shut up if they get too annoying, respecting they grief my ass. Save for a life and death situation, I'd rather avoid the mass graveyard that hid beneath the sterile air and white tiles.
I guess you two can go without me. But I can't believe how naturally you two conspire behind my back. Don't expect my help if those bloody doctors bleed you two dry. Vampires, every single one of them. Not as bad as lawyers and politicians, but close enough. You do know Carly will be upset when she finds out you're not here tomorrow. Again.
She'll be happy enough to spend time with her fairy godfather, I'm sure. You're a good role model for her, despite your whining.
No matter how many times Hannah claims that whining is unbecoming of me, I never listen. It's not like anyone that matters is here to judge. Well, it's not like anyone that actually matters. I'll whine if I bloody well want to, and I'll be no lesser because of it. Of course I will not tolerate another person's whining. Except perhaps for Hannah. She hardly ever does that. Even right now, I can see the look of pain pass on her face, and her hand goes to her stomach. Yet she keeps quiet, not bringing it up or complaining. What should I do? Save. That's what we're gonna do, Luke. Oh, I feel so bad. I want to rebuild the relationship. Call for an ambulance, ask if she's alright. Okay.
Are you alright? Should we be concerned? Maybe we should bring you to the hospital now.
Yay!
I just feel a little queasy, that's all. A bit more tea in me, maybe some more sleep, and I'll be right as rain.
I've spent a lot of time around people who lie for a living, and I can't help but feel that there's more to it than just that. Maybe it is just that, as she says, but I'm overthinking it. But I trust Hannah will fess up before things could get any worse. She's never really lied to me before, nothing big at least.
If you're sure, I'm just worried. You'll tell me if anything is wrong, right? You do know you can still trust me. That I do still care about you?
I know that, I'm just going to be moving out soon. Even if it is for a short while, you won't always be there for me.
Did you finish packing before you... I understand if you haven't, and I won't blame you if you've changed your mind after what happened. You can stay until you feel better.
I'm still moving. It isn't like you can't visit to check up on me. Although that does somewhat defeat the point. Luke, I'm a big girl. I'm going to get a checkup tomorrow, take whatever pills they tell me to get, and get over it. You really don't need to worry. I'm fine.
Oh, I do so hate those words. I hide my scowl behind taking a sip of tea, fighting off the urge to hurl a cup at the wall. I'm fine, she says. A lie. Apparently the sour disposition I have, one not entirely born from my hangover, is still obvious. Without saying a word, Hannah puts her hand on mine and squeezes it tight. Her hands are cold and clammy, her grip is weak. I can see the small tremors that run along her shoulders and the paleness of her cheeks. She has yet to recover from what happened to her. She's not fine. And I'm not either.
Fine. I don't need to like it, but fine.
I don't think either of us really like it. But I do think it is for the best.
Perhaps we should bring you back to bed. The sooner you are off your feet, the better.
Is that some sort of roundabout way of saying that you want to sweep me off my feet and take me to bed? This isn't our honeymoon. I need rest, mister.
I am aware that this is the farthest thing from our honeymoon. This isn't how things are supposed to be. Hannah isn't supposed to leave. I'm not supposed to let her. And if she ever did leave, it's supposed to be on my terms. Everything is going wrong, but I respect her enough to let her have her space, as she puts it. If divorce is brought up, however, well, that's another matter entirely.
Really now, you shouldn't have gotten up in the first place. Breakfast in bed exists for a reason. Come on then, back to bed you go.
Are you going to carry me to bed then?
You're far too heavy for that. Johans could carry you, if you'd like.
Luke!
Can you blame me if I enjoy food too much? I can walk, thank you very much.
I don't say a word as she clutches my arm to steady herself. What? Sunday, October 30th. Come Sunday morning, Luke woke up with a huge hangover. To Hannah's utter displeasure, regardless, she informed him of her plans to see a doctor back at the city, something her husband immediately worried about, which she allayed with gentle reassurances. There's no protest as she uses me as a crutch while going up the stairs. But that's as far as I want to go. Judging by the light blush on Hannah's face, she's gotten self-conscious about it too.
Johans, look after her, and you stay in bed. I just need to go out.
It sounded like he was telling Johans to go to bed. I'll have plenty of time to be lonely in the mansion by myself when Hannah moves out. For now, I can go and stretch my legs, fresh air, all that. Breathe. Grey skies loom over in the horizon, though the sun fights for every precious minute it gets to stay. It'll rain again soon, with the wind bringing along the gloomy clouds normal to Luxbourne. Until then, it doesn't hurt to be out of here for fresh air and sunshine. I walk to the gardens, what little of it there is at the moment anyway, and kneel by the daffodils. These are the first to be... 1 second. I just want to say, it is October. Daffodils would not be growing. Daffodils are like early springtime flower. These are the first to be brought here and planted on my request, and if nothing else, they brought in a sense of peace. They were Mother's favourite. Closing my eyes, I lift my chin up to welcome the light that shines upon me. And for a minute, I can imagine myself as one of the flowers, peaceful, blooming, and all too happy to stand in its warmth. Life would be much easier if we were all like flowers, wouldn't it? But I didn't step out of here to get all philosophical. I have problems much more practical than figuring out the meaning of life after all. Too many things have gone on these past few days. And I want to forget about them, even just for a moment.
It's almost All Saints, isn't it? To think I've almost forgotten.
What is All Saints? All Saints Eve? All Saints the rugby team? What? I speak the words absent-mindedly. The date means nothing to me, as I neither worship the religion nor have any graves to visit. After all, Mother was never given a proper burial. Oh, do they mean like the Day of the Dead? Or Halloween? All Saints Eve? Is that Halloween? But it's a day as good as any. For me to grieve, otherwise I would have done so every single day, crippling myself and shutting everyone else out. I can remember how the flames licked at her flesh and how it consumed her body until there was nothing left but ash. He was there during her cremation? I stood there watching with the operator and a social worker, though I could have been alone for all I cared. I felt alone, but it was the most that could be done. No one would attend the funeral of a dead prostitute, let alone pay for it. All that is left of her, proof that she had lived, is her name written in the ledger of Luxbourne Cemetery, and a lighter and me. Pulling out the lighter from my jacket, I can't stop myself from flicking it open to stare at the flame and to run my thumb over her name. Eleanor. All in all, it isn't much, but it's something. And it'll be wrong of me not to make something of myself when she would have been given everything to make sure I can become anything I want to be.
Feels like I'm stuck in a nightmare right now. What I would give to have you here by my side, Mother dear. To see you smiling at me. Alive and as beautiful as ever. I'm afraid I'm starting to forget what your face looks like. I've already forgotten the shade of your hair.
Eleanor Chandler was a wonderful woman, though not everyone would have agreed. Not everyone had seen past her occupation, past her vices and her illness. All they saw was a poor woman who sold her body to make ends meet and had a bastard son because of it. They didn't see the mother who worked hard to put food on the table for me, the woman who gave and gave and gave to me while expecting nothing in return. She taught me the merits of hard work, but though I loved her so, I worked hard for myself. I would not be so foolish, so selfless towards people who would never give back. I learned that from my father, who plucked me out of an orphanage for his own selfish gain. I pocket the lighter before I can feel the urge to actually set anything ablaze. Considering my close proximity to the flowers, they would be the most likely victim of arson. The thought itself is blasphemous. Nevertheless, that doesn't save them from being picked, just enough to make a bouquet of the things in honor of Eleanor.
Would you be proud of me if you saw me now, Mother? Maybe. You're always so forgiving. No matter what trouble I got into, more than I deserved. Especially now.
It's been a while since I've talked to my mother like this. I've been thinking of both my dear parents far too much as of late when I shouldn't. I have a future to look forward to and the present to take care of. These memories of the past give me nothing but grief. The life of Lucille Mitchell Chandler should be nothing but footnote in Luke Wright's non-existent autobiography. It's because of Hannah, isn't it? I worry that she is all too much like my mother, that it scares me, and the thought that I'm turning into my father is even more so. But even if history is so set up to repeat itself, I'm not a child anymore. Content to sit aside, unable to do anything to help, and too inexperienced to think that the worst wouldn't happen. I have money to buy the best medicines and doctors if need be. She'll get better, she has to. And once we get over this little bump in the road, I can stop worrying. All will be right with the world. Unfortunately, my time alone is cut short, though.
I think those flowers look beautiful, my lord. The parlor, the room where the lady stays for her tea, it could certainly use some.
The voice is not familiar, though I'm not really one to remember such things. Ooh, small talk. Going with her attire, I would say that she's one of the housekeepers. Strange considering I've sent all of their staff but Johan's away. And her face, as pretty as it is unfamiliar to me. It would be a lie if I said that it didn't set me on edge. Most would say that I cared little for my employees. That isn't entirely untrue. Double negative. However, I'd like to think I know the people who work for me, especially those who would roam in my home, even if it's just a face and a name. Besides, I remember a beauty such as her. So who is she? Is she someone impersonating a household staff to get in? She's doing a bad job of it.
Didn't you get the memo? Are you new? Today is a day off. You aren't supposed to be here.
I accept poor excuses and apologies like the likes of her often give, but she merely smiles.
Oh, no. I've been a servant here since you first came.
And I see no signs of lying nor hear it in her words, yet they can't be true. But I find that I can feel like I can relax. She has that sort of smile that makes one kindness shine through without words or action. It reaches her eyes, filling them with a strange sort of mirth as if she's thought of something very funny. Okay, hear me out. So, the lady who looks like Hannah, and this lady who is like, who kind of looks like Marianne, but is the servant girl from before. What if they're both the ghost? Like, there are more than one. You hear what I'm saying? Did I read this? Perhaps, had it been any other person, I would have interpreted it as a deceitful grin. But the curl of her lips and the shine of her eyes are too soft to hold any malice. She takes my silence as a sign that she can continue. And it's not like I feel any urgency to stop her. I'm not really in the mood for company. But I'm not adverse to it at the moment either. Entertaining a beauty like her even for a little while wouldn't hurt. It helps that she proves easy to listen to despite how oddly she speaks.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I shouldn't have bothered you. Look at me, talking to the master of the house without even asking for permission. What will the others think? If you'll excuse me, I'll just...
I haven't driven you away yet, have I? And it's your day off. I don't see why we can't chat a bit.
Of course. If that is what you wish. As long as it does not get you into trouble with the lady. To even take time for someone as lowly as me. No wonder that everyone under the mansion's employ is so fond of you. Though it should have no longer been a surprise to me. You have always been such a kind and loving lord.
I have to stop myself from calling her out on her shite. It's almost as if she's talking about an entirely different man. No matter how big my ego gets, I know for a fact that I'm hardly in the running for Best Boss of the Year award. The only reason that most of my staff stay is because of the decent compensation. I'm not cheap. But if she wants to lay on it thick, I'll allow it. Who wouldn't want a beautiful woman complimenting them?
I'm sure she'll be fine with this. We are just talking after all. Unless you had other things on your mind when you approached me.
The words leave my mouth before I even realize what I've said. I panic a bit. Though I can get away with picking women up out in the city, sometimes even out in the country, I always taking care not to do so in my home or in my businesses. Not when it'll be easy for Hannah to find out about my infidelity through these channels. Okay, so he is actively cheating on her. Though seriously, I still don't see what the big deal about it is. I just have an itch and I need to scratch it.
I know it must be amusing to see a girl flustered for a man of your stature. But please don't say such things, my lord. I saw you alone and simply thought you could use some company.
Thankfully, and I do count my lucky stars, it seems the woman takes it as a joke rather than casual pass it was intended to be.
So how are you liking your work around the mansion? The place is wonderful, but I imagine the upkeep is ungodly with all the rooms and whatnot. I don't even want to think about how many people are on the staff roster.
Work is work, my lord. It is a way of living. A purpose from day to day. It is certainly far better than doing nothing or having no food to eat. The house itself is also beautiful. There's no lack of things to look at. I'm sure you've seen those books in the study. I can't read any of them yet, but if given the chance, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be thinking of those things, especially when the rains. They might bring more work to us soon. It will definitely be much more difficult when it returns. Idling about is the least I should be doing.
I guess you can put it that way if you want to be brutally honest about the whole thing. And the rain shouldn't be a problem. Hopefully. Maybe.
If a little dreary, at least she doesn't beat around the bush. I like the honesty. Many would bemoan their status as household staff, as a janitor or other menial role, and believe themselves to be for greater things. And I would not begrudge the idea that one can always get better. But one shouldn't be so discontent with the way that they have either.
The rain is something I simply must get accustomed to if I am to live here. I've not spent long in this place after all, but I have been told that it has rained in this nation since a mother's time and their mother's time. There is little we can do about it. I am just glad to have time in the sun, even for a short while.
Isn't that the truth? Really, these sunny days have been welcome, though I can't imagine they'll last for long. Sometimes I just want to pack my things and leave for somewhere like, say, the Bahamas or whatnot. Get some sun and surf.
But certainly, you will return for us, won't you? This is your home, after all. Your people. They won't be pleased if the master of the house leaves.
Of course, I can't very well leave my businesses hanging here, can I? I just wish I could actually trust people enough to go on vacation without taking work with me. I've also got to get back here if I ever want proper meals. A proper pudding is something you'll never find out there.
The woman nods in understanding, and I must say that she makes for a fine listening ear. Though what she says next gives me pause, whether she meant for me to hear it or not.
And good tea. From what the cook has been telling me, I've yet learned how to prepare one. Perhaps once I do, it would endear the lady of the house to me. I never expected her to be so unkind after what she did for me. Though it's only if one catches her in a foul mood. I wish I knew how to avoid her anger.
I highly doubt she means Hannah. That woman rarely has a mean bone in her body. And when she actually is nasty towards someone else, it's usually deserving enough, much like with the Rochelle woman. Hell, she even tolerates Harvey for me, even if she did admit that she doesn't quite like the man. She must mean the head housemaid, right? I have to laugh at that. Not that I have room to speak, I don't deal with myself anymore, though even Johannes has a few choice words about the head hag. She's just been under the right employ when she was also head housemaid for my father. And if anyone's not going to get along with someone, it'll be the crotchety old woman. I don't even remember her name. But the woman has been this straight upstart bitch. She took one look at me, her master's bastard stud, and turned her nose up, as if she were better by mere consequence of birth. That and she absolutely loathed my very existence. Perhaps the rumors had been true. She had a miscarriage while bearing another one of her dear father's children, and she saw me as an obstacle to her being granted a better standing in life. I remember that much at least. The only reason I haven't sacked her yet is because of her competence. Also because working under my household makes her absolutely miserable. Her resignation made impossible by her pride.
Nobody really gets along with that woman. I think everyone just tolerates her because of how old she is. I mean, not to be rude or awful or anything, but she's at the age where she'll be pushing daisies soon enough.
Is she? Really, my lord? I'm sure the lady is much younger than that.
I think the thought of tormenting the young and beautiful gives her reason to live.
It does seem that way. Though I feel sorry for her. One's life should not be wasted away on hatred and anger. It is never good for the heart or the head to always carry ill thoughts.
This segment is going on for a long time.
But at the least, you are here for us. We are certainly so lucky to have a lord like you. The lady even more so. The gods smile down on her. Though, if I may be honest, she is to be envied.
Even when I have my suspicions about her, she's just so easy to talk with that I've forgotten. I don't know who she is, and if she's actually one of the household staff, that would explain why she would so easily give obviously wrong statements about my character. Though if she is here for malicious reasons, she would have done more than do small talk with me by now, wouldn't she? I have so many questions. Perhaps curiosity will kill the cat.
It's strange that I've never seen you before. What's your name?
You do not remember?
I don't believe you've mentioned it, or am I missing something?
You still cannot comprehend it, can you, my lord?
Her answer chips away at the good mood I'm starting to get into. I have every right to be angry at the cryptic response. She threatens insubordination with her very presence alone. But instead of hurling vitriol at the woman, I take a deep breath. I do not want my mood ruined further than it already is, not right now when I can let my temper take its course another time.
Whatever your name is, and no matter how long you've been working for us, that does not change the fact that you shouldn't be here. I'll call you a cab to bring you to the city if you want.
Shouldn't I? What if I do not wish to leave?
Ooh.
I merely desire to stay by your side and serve. Is that such a deplorable thing?
Her gaze sends chills down my spine. It's too easy to see the devotion, the obsession in her eyes, not the good sort either, as her scrutiny makes me feel like I'm laid bare. The offness of her presence is all the more palpable with the feeling of bugs crawling on my skin and the silence that makes it seem as if the world has stopped. Any friendly atmosphere we might have had going for us is completely forgotten. Danger, a small part in the back of my mind screams, the part that has kept me alive all these years. And in hindsight, I'd be stupid not to take heed of it. But I've grown arrogant, complacent, and content to hide behind wealth and power.
Yes, it's a deplorable thing, as you said, because I'd like to be alone now. Thank you very much. If you didn't want the day off, you should have reported to your superior. This is utterly unprofessional of you, and I shall be issuing complaints. In fact, if you know it's good for you, you should start looking for another employer.
It's at my threat that the smile on her face turns tight.
I see. It escapes you still. This is unfortunate. How despairing that this misery must go on. But maybe, if you come with me, I can help you. I can...
When she reaches out for me, I recoil with a hiss.
How dare you lay your filthy hands on me without my permission? I am not going anywhere with you. Now step back and walk away before I have you forcibly removed.
As if a switch has been flipped, the woman's expression turns horrific, although that may very well be the understatement of the century. She herself turns horrific. Her presence is suffocating, bearing down on me. I'm rooted on the spot through no fault of my own as my fear paralyzes.
You are too much like that vile woman. Poisoned by her rotten influence and her filthy words. But that can be remedied now that you're here. Oh, how we've waited to welcome you home. Come, my lord. The house beckons.
When her fingers grasp at the back of my coat, I finally find it in me to break off into a run. Ooh, I can still feel her eyes on me as I run back to the house. Sunday, October 30th. Wanting some alone time and fresh air, Luke excused himself, lingering in the gardens as he remembered the memory of his late mother. Suddenly, a beautiful woman appears by his side, striking up a conversation with him. It was all pleasant at first, until... But I refuse to acknowledge it, let alone look back. All I need to do is get away from her and to make sure she stays away. If that means acting like a coward and seeking out company to keep me safe, nobody can tell me to do otherwise. Bravery isn't something to be lauded if it comes along with stupidity. It must have been a sight to see the usually composed and reserved Luke Wright bursting through the doors. Not that I have much of an audience unless there are other staff members who have chosen to disregard my orders for them to leave. Also, side note, wasn't it interesting that she said, "We have been waiting for you"? Really, I still doubt the woman is one of the staff. Mustering up the courage, I look back through the windows to see if she followed me. She's gone, but I don't take any chances putting as much distance as I can between us. Stopping to catch my breath, Johan's sudden appearance nearly makes me jump out of my skin.
Don't fucking do that, you son of a bitch! If I had a gun, I would have shot you!
If I had any love left for my mutter, I'd take offense. But what happened to you? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Oh, if only it was such a delusion. But I can still feel her sharp nails digging into my back. The feeling was too real for it to have been a ghost.
There was his housekeeper. I think, I'm not sure. In the gardens. She was acting odd and I thought to remove myself from the scene.
Strange. I made sure the rest of the staff had left and that the house was empty, as you requested. Describe this woman.
She had pale skin, dark eyes, and long dark hair. She wouldn't give me her name.
I half expect a name from him. The man knows the staff better than I do, after all. But instead of an answer, he grows quiet. I'm pretty sure that's not a good thing. I'm even more worried when the other man looks over me. I have to protest when he pulls back my collar.
What in the bloody hell are you doing?
Checking for marks. Needle marks, to be exact. We don't have anyone like that among the staff. You could have easily been kidnapped.
A cold feeling settles in itself over me at the thought. I've long established my power over the more unsavory characters in Luxborn. Or I thought I did. And the most harm I thought that could come to me would be slander, robbery, or incarceration. Kidnapping? An attempt on my own person? I've forgotten that I am as human as mortal as any other man despite my wealth and status.
Fortunately, you look unharmed. But I advise that you be accompanied by trusted individuals at all times from now on. If not me, an assigned guard. I'll be informing them of this soon as they return from their day in the city.
Already I can feel the energy leave me at the realization of what could have been.
All right. Yes, I suppose we should do that. But I think I'd like to call it a day. I should be safe in bed, yes?
I'll stand guard outside for the night. The madam has been inquiring about you, by the way.
A guard. Any other threat, and he alone would be enough to make me feel safe. But what I saw, whatever it is I saw, would one man be enough?
That's all well and good, but there's something else. That housekeeper, she...
Luke, you're home. I was worried about you.
The grin that I can muster is probably lopsided. Forced as I snap my mouth shut to keep myself blubbering about witches and monsters. Because here I am standing in the hallway, dirt on my pant legs and sweat dropping down my forehead. A far cry from my usually pristine condition. I don't want to worry Hannah. A cough.
What happened to you? You look like you wrestled in the mud and moss, dear. And those flowers. Were you gardening?
What? Oh, these. I didn't realize I still had them.
I really did not. But there they are, still in my grip, the daffodils I had taken from the garden. Even wrapped up. Even in the wake of my flight, I had refused to let them go, whether I was conscious of it or not.
Shall I put them in a vase?
Should I? Give them to Hannah? Of course! One sec. Oh yeah, baby. Perhaps I did it to save face, or maybe a small part of me really had planned to take them for her. But, like a young man presenting flowers to a Valentine's, I awkwardly thrust the bouquet in Hannah's direction.
They're for you.
These are lovely, thank you. But aren't these?
The surprise is to be expected, and the open-ended question needs a little interpretation. I've never given her daffodils before, especially not from the ones that I considered mine.
They're for you. Don't make me think that kneeling around in the dirt was a waste of my time.
It's not. It's not. Just... Are you feeling alright? I hope whatever I have isn't contagious.
I'm not sick, Hannah. I just got them for you. I thought they'd make you feel better, brighten up the room. I don't need my intentions questioned. The thank you was enough.
And I didn't mean to insinuate anything. But you're right. Thank you, truly, for these.
She takes them from me, then, careful not to crush the stems. There is still uncertainty on her face which endears and annoys me in equal parts. But she does look lovely with them, the very picture of her, something that should be immortalized in paint. They should be for Mother, but it doesn't matter anymore.
Why don't we turn in for the night? You must be exhausted with all that gardening.
What does a dead woman care for flowers? And that's where we'll end the episode there, guys. It's interesting. I find... Obviously, there's been a huge build-up to this, but it is interesting to see how the ghost is treating Luke. Like, we already realized that there was something different, like they fancied him or something. But, yeah, it's interesting to see where this is going. I'm glad that it's all coming to a head finally, you know? Maybe we'll find some more lore in the end. But, yeah, if you want to look at the branching tree, I will be showing it now. Ooh, we went down. We're taking the long path. Never mind. Ooh. Ooh. Whoa. Whoa. Ooh. Oh dear. Common route. Of course. 0% done. Look at that bar. Oh well. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next episode. I don't think I'm doing this before the new year. Kisses. Bye. See you later.